Green Book.
My wife's a pain in the ass. She's always busting my friggin' agates. My daughter's married to a jadrul loser bastard. I got a rash so bad on my ass, I can't even sit down. But you know me, I can't complain.
So, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary, I actually put a lot of time and effort into making these every year. No, like, seriously. And there are only so many days between when nominations are announced and when the ceremony is, and I work full-time, so only have so many hours to dedicate to this. That's why I didn't see me talk about The Post or Darkest Hour last year. Also, what the fuck was I going to say about those movies? Did you even remember those came out last year and were nominated for Best Picture? No? Great. Time and effort well saved. And so when nominations were announced, and there were a whopping 3 Best Picture nominees that I hadn't even seen yet, let alone given any thought to, or researched the background of, or developed piping hot takes for, I knew right away that some movies were going to fall by the wayside again this year. Which is probably for the best because there were some nominees where I was confident I wouldn't have many nice things to say. Yeah, I too enjoy Queen karaoke, but fucking really? All to say, despite not having much desire to even see Green Book, let alone put in the time and effort to make a video about it, here I am. Because I'm afraid it's going to win. Its award season prospects and modicum of success are surprising but also not surprising. It's not surprising because it's a period piece movie, crucially a period piece movie about a time that older Academy members remember from childhood, and it's a trite, easily digestible movie about a subject that's hard to digest. But it's surprising because I thought we were done giving awards to movies like this.
Yeah, some guy called over here, a doctor. He's looking for a driver. You interested?
I am not a medical doctor. I'm a musician. I'm about to embark on a concert tour in the Deep South. What other experience do you have?
Public relations.
Do you foresee any issues in working for a black man?
You in the Deep South, there's gonna be problems.
Promise me you're gonna write me a letter.
I promise. Tell me that don't smell good.
I've never had fried chicken in my life.
You people love the fried chicken.
You have a very narrow assessment of me, Tony.
Yeah, right? I'm good.
I didn't hate it. It had some good laughs, and it was charming enough. The performances are definitely the highlight. The screenplay is pretty obvious. You know, it's a road trip movie, so Act 1, pre-road trip. First half of Act 2, road trip through Ohio and Pennsylvania. Second half of Act 2, road trip through the South. Act 3, heading home. There's never really a second where you don't know exactly where the movie's going. And I don't just mean plot-wise, but also emotional beats and character moments. Here's a fun game. Watch the first 20 or 30 seconds of really any scene in Green Book, then pause it and try to guess exactly what's going to happen the rest of the scene. And don't overthink it. Dazzle your friends with your amazing intuition. It's also pretty vignette-y, like a series of loosely connected scenes that don't really build upon themselves, and you could swap some out or change around the order, and you wouldn't really lose anything. It just kind of plays the same few notes over and over again.
Music is essentially 12 notes between any octave. It's the same story, told over and over.
Wait. And of course, this is a racism is bad movie, so there's stuff about not judging people, whether it be Tony's vocabulary and appearance, or Dr. Shirley's intense control over his appearance.
You will be interacting with some of the wealthiest people in the country. It is my feeling that your diction could use some finessing.
But why you breaking my balls?
Because you can do better, Mr. Balalonga.
But that's all text, not subtext. There's not really any subtext. It's also a racism is bad movie from the point of view of the canonically racist white character, who I guess learns to be less racist at some point. I don't really find this offensive so much as I find it extremely dull. Dr. Shirley is, I think, irrefutably the more interesting character between the two of them, and we just get the briefest of glimpses into his worldview, his backstory, and what makes him tick. I have to believe the movie would have been more interesting if it was told from his point of view, but I'm not reviewing the movie that I wanted, but the one that we got. In the movie we got, I liked it just fine. There are some laughs and some nice feel-good stuff, but it's mostly just fluff. And fluff isn't bad, but it's nowhere near Best Picture material in my book. Also, that this was nominated for Best Original Screenplay and that it actually won Best Screenplay at the Golden Globes is completely bonkers to me. Green Book is this year's award season backlash movie, and while I understood the backlashes against La La Land and Three Billboards, such as they were, I was still pretty inclined to defend those movies. I don't really feel inclined to defend Green Book. If you're curious as to why some people take issue with the movie, I recommend Mark Harris's succinct write-up on Vulture.com. How it's basically a both sides movie, a part of a long tradition of movies about racism pitched at the white Americans who in some way see themselves as mediators, non-racist people poised halfway between unrepentant racists and black people. And if you're tempted to think that Mr. Harris is being unfair with his both sides assessment, take it from the movie's director.
This is a movie that I want everybody to see because it's about both sides.
Despite not being inclined to defend the movie, I still hear you, person in the comments typing, why can't we just enjoy things? I hear you. Admittedly, when Green Book premiered at the Toronto Film Festival, it had a really warm reception. Critics were nice to it, and it won the prestigious Audience Award. And if you're suspicious of people being harder on the movie months later when it starts winning awards than they might have been when it first premiered, fair enough, but I also don't think it's unfair for us to scrutinize the movies we give awards to more so than we might scrutinize a dumb, oversimplified crowd pleaser that plays Toronto. I don't think it's unfair to want a little nuance from our Best Picture winners. In a time when Moonlight wins Best Picture and Get Out wins Best Original Screenplay, I was hoping that the days of Driving Miss Daisy beating out Do the Right Thing for Best Picture were behind us. There's a reason that's regarded as one of the most egregious Best Picture snubs of the last 50 years. Because the safe, easily digestible, down-the-middle movie beat out a better, nuanced movie on the same subject that is aimed to make us uncomfortable rather than comfortable. That exact thing might happen again this year, 30 years later, kinda sucks. But even setting aside all that and any optics of a Green Book Best Picture win, straight up, it should win Best Picture because it's kind of not that great. It aims for the middle, it takes no risks, and it challenges nothing. And it's a less interesting movie for it. Green Book is like McDonald's. You know exactly what it's going to taste like, it goes down easy, it's supposedly nourishing you, but maybe eat in moderation. And don't give it Best Picture.
Forget about it, huh? Forget about it.
Green Book is like McDonald's. Except I like McDonald's more than I like Green Book.